Is there some kind of jury system or panels of judges for nuanced cases? Don't know what that. It's kind of a vague question, but does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it's possible, but this isn't really a jury deal. It's this court is based on not subjective criteria. You know, I understand. Yes, the jury are your peers, but the principles of the court are connected to, you know, the grassroots movement. So it's not that we need, you know, some lay jurors to show up. If the principles that humanity has already codified in international law are applied technically correctly. In other words, if you don't ignore them and dismiss them, if you actually use the law and use the principles that humanity has already democratically codified, then you don't need a jury. You don't need a subjective process. What we need is
Okay,
technical adherence to the things that we've already outlawed as the human
but
race.
is
The human
there?
race is spoken.
I mean, this actually does bring up the idea here. When you're saying it's a court, you're saying there's no jury, so there's only judges, and are judges like, are we talking like, I don't know, Supreme Court where you've got 12 or more? How many
Yeah.
judges are we talking
Well,
about?
let me put it. Let me say, I don't remember the detailed rule on this, and I'd have to go and, you know, meet with some of the judges to ask them. But let me tell you my opinion on that. Um, I think judges more. I mean, juries more often are manipulated. I think the juries are mostly used to manipulate things, make them subjective to circumvent strict application of what's been clearly outlawed. And so personally, you know, for me, if they ask my opinion, I'd suggest to them that you focus on judges who just strictly apply the law to the violations.
Okay, but that's actually not my question. My question is how
Okay.
many judges comprise the court to look at every case?
Oh, I think they follow the European system where it's supposed to be at least three. And if
Okay.
it's a real serious case, then I'm sure that they bring other judges in. But in most European systems, it's a panel of three.
Okay, is this something written into the bylaws of the court, or a
Yeah,
specified number of judges that have to look at every case?
yeah, and there are rules. And by the way, I'm glad that they're asking all these questions, and they're the right questions. The fact that there's all these questions justifies a tradition, a judiciary tradition, that the statutes of the court, in other words, its rules, at some point absolutely must be published. And this is part of our funding. There's some expensive research and some expensive, you know, flying around between different countries of judges. We need some budgets to finish the statutes. Now, remember, this is 70 years of international law that developed over the last 70 years since the UN was founded, that this new court now has to synthesize. If you look at the statutes or the charter of ACIJ court and I'm not ACIJ, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, and the ICC, they're huge. They're like 80-page long statutes. And the one for ACIJ has to be double that. So this is a huge project that takes a lot of judges to work out all the nuances of all these rules. And they're not done yet. And they need some help with grassroots funding. But what they will finish. It's a priority. In the first stage, they have to finish the statutes, and they will be public. And
Okay.
then we're not going to leave the public wondering what the rule is. The whole world is going to see it all over the internet. And everybody who needs to know is going to be able to look it up in 2 seconds and see what the rule is.